this video, I'm going to be doing today's math lesson with you. Now this week we are going to begin working in our math textbooks, which look like this. So if you are sitting at home, you should go through your books and find this Sadler math book. And once you have this book in front of you, you can open it up to page 3, which actually you're going to turn through a lot of pages to get to the one that looks like this, and it has a page 3 down at the bottom. So if you want to pause this video and take a minute to get your book open and ready, you can do that. If you already have it open and ready, even better. And then we will get started on this lesson, okay? So I'm just going to make myself smaller here so that I'm still here, but not quite in the way. And today's lesson is titled Sums Through 5. Now, before I go into the lesson with you on how we're going to do these problems, we need to talk about that word sum and what that means, okay? So we see here on the screen, it says sums through 5. So the word sum, S-U-M, is a word that we use in math, and the answer to an addition problem. So when we're adding numbers together, 1 plus 1 or 5 plus 8, or anytime we're bringing numbers together to get a larger amount, we call that total or that answer the sum. So the sum of 1 plus 1 is 2. So this word sum, you're going to hear a lot when we are doing math, because we add a lot in math, and the answer when we add numbers together is called the sum. So now that we know what a sum is, we can start to talk about this sums through 5, which means answers through 5, or answers that add up to 5. So here we have what we call a word problem or a story problem, and it says there are 2 frogs sitting on a log. Okay, so that 2 is an important number. I tell the kids here in the classroom, when you see numbers in a word problem, you should circle them, because chances are that we're going to need those numbers to solve our problem. So go ahead and circle that number 2. There are 2 frogs sitting on a log, and I'm going to write down that number 2 right here. You've circled it, okay? There are 2 frogs sitting on a log. 1 more frog hops on. So circle that 1 more frog, and I'm going to put my 1 more frog right here. So I have 2 frogs on a log, and then 1 more hops on. In the picture here, you can see there's 2 frogs on the log, and 1 more hops on. And now the question here, which I want you to underline or draw a line underneath it, says, how many frogs are on the log now? So that's what we're trying to figure out the answer to. How many frogs are on the log now? So I have my log here, okay? Don't mind my drawing, they're not going to be perfect. And I have 1 frog, 2 frogs sitting on the log, and then another frog comes along and hops on. So now my question says, how many frogs are there now? Well, if I count them, there are 1, 2, 3 frogs on that log. A way to write that would be 2 frogs plus 1 more frog equals 3 frogs. So the sum of 2 plus 1 is 3. We call this an equation. When we write out the number sentence and we have numbers on both sides, that's called an equation. Okay, so it says here 2 plus 1 equals 3 is an addition equation because we are adding. So there are 3 frogs on the log now, and you can see that here in this picture and my not so pretty picture here. Okay, so now if we look down at the bottom of that first page, it says complete the addition equation. All right, so I see here I have 1 turtle, and you can go ahead and trace that number 1 because they've shown us here there's 1 turtle. And then 2 more turtles come along. So 1 plus 2 more turtles. Now, all together, if we count up these turtles, 1 plus 2 more would be 1, 2, 3 turtles. So on this line, you can put the number 3. Looking here at number 2, we have red dots and blue dots. So there's one red dot, and they represent that here with number 1, plus some number of blue dots, which we don't know yet. And they say all together there are 5. So if I count them all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you can trace that 5. But now on this line we have to say, what's the missing number there? We have our 1, which is the red. We have our total, which is the 5, or our sum. So how many blue are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So on this line you can write the number 4. Nice job. Now let's look at the horses. Here they want us to do all the work. So I'm going to erase what I have here. And they have some number plus another number is going to equal our sum, or our total. So first we have 1, 2, 3, 4 horses. So on this first line, you're going to write the number 4. Then we have one more horse here. So on the next line, we'll write one more horse. And now, after our equal sign, we want to know what's the sum. How many horses are there in both boxes all together? So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 horses plus one more horse equals 5 horses. So you can go ahead and write those numbers in your book. Now if you turn the page, boys and girls, the next page says practice. And what they want you to do here, oops, sorry about that, let me get my screen adjusted. What they want you to do here is the same thing that we've been doing. Write how many fish in the first box, how many fish in the second box, and then the sum, or how many all together. So here you should have 3 fish plus 2 fish equals 5 fish. Good job. Now let's look at this problem solving page. It says here, 2 kittens are sleeping. So I'm going to write down 2 kittens. You can circle the 2. And then it says 2 more fall asleep. So I'm going to put in 2 more. So 2 plus 2 more. And the question that you can underline is, how many kittens are sleeping now? So to figure out how many kittens are sleeping now, I have to count up, or add up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 kittens altogether. The sum of 2 plus 2 equals 4. So down here you can write 2 plus 2 equals 4 kittens are sleeping now. And down here at the bottom it says write about it. A lot of times in the classroom, instead of writing about it, we talk about it. So let me bring it up here for you. It says draw a picture that shows an addition story. Write the addition equation and explain your story to a friend. So if you want to draw pictures of frogs like we had on the first page, or cookies, or your favorite candy, you decide what you want to draw there and go ahead and draw your addition equation. Okay? Now if we go to the top of the next page, this is just a review of what we just talked about. 2 frogs plus 1 more is 3. That's an equation, and the total is the sum. And then we have this part that says more practice. I want you now on your own to go through and complete these problems. So write how many in the first box, how many in the second, and then check your answer by checking the sum or the total. Do the same thing with number 2. Number 3 is a word problem. So you're going to need to use your best sounding out to solve this word problem. And I want you to go ahead and try to get that one solved. Okay, and then the back of that page, there's just a few more problems I want you to work through and practice what we've learned about today. Okay, now some of you might feel like this is pretty easy, and if you do, that's great. When something feels easy to us, it means that we're really good at it. And if it feels a little tricky to you, that's okay too, because for some of us, we're just learning this for the first time. So if you need a little help from mom and dad to get those last 2 pages finished, that's okay too. Just work hard on this and do your best. And I look forward to seeing you again in more videos later today. Have fun with this, boys and girls. Bye.